In this series, I do my best to theorycraft and build popular characters or other creatures from pop culture. Keep in mind, most of the game statistics and homebrew abilities I make for each character are my own personal opinions, and if you disagree with something, I encourage you to make any and all changes you wish based on your interpretation of the characters. I do not own the rights to any of the characters discussed in this series, nor do I own any of the source material that we will use to help build a working D&D 5th edition version of each character. If I end up using some pre-made abilities or take heavy inspiration of a character, I will do my best to track down their original creator and give them a huge shout out and praise for their efforts. Without further ado, let's begin. Avacyn is an archangel of the highest caliber when it comes to fantasy. Before we dive into her powers and abilities, let's do a recap of her origin and feats to know what this insanely powerful angel has shown in her story. Avacyn is a very popular and equally as powerful archangel from the trading card game Magic the Gathering. She is arguably the most important / focused on character on the plane of Innistrad, and only possibly overshadowed by her creator, Sorin Markov. If my sources are reliable, Sorin Markov is around 11,000 years old. Sorin's grandfather, this guy, made some sort of deal with a demon to fix a horrible famine that was sweeping across Innistrad. The demon was totally trustworthy and told Sorin's grandpappy that all they would have to do is drink some angel blood and bam, no more starvation. Except, now the 5 people who drank the blood of the angel, including Sorin, now had to drink the blood of other humans to stay immortal. So, worth it? A few thousand years of establishing a strong vampire house and ruling over humanity, Sorin started to worry about the extinction of humanity, and in turn his fellow vampires would starve. So Sorin went all anti-Thanos, and instead of trying to wipe out more humans, he wanted to find a way to keep groups of humans alive, so that they would be protected and steadily growing. He'd basically be creating a flock of sheep that vampires would be able to slowly feast on as they grew older. So about 4,000 years after Sorin was turned into a blood-sucking fiend, he found himself a nice dark basement and broke the rules of nature by creating new and original life. Enter Avacyn. Once Avacyn was born, she felt the need to protect these tiny fragile beings known as humans. The people of Innistrad believed that the gods sent her to protect them from vampires, werewolves, and zombies. And protect them she did. She protected the hell out of them. They built her a church. 4 super powerful angels became her lieutenants. Avacyn killed one of them for helping a demon. She had some epic battles with a few demons over and over and over again before she stopped and realized that for some reason, no matter how many times she killed these demons, they came back and caused more hell. Oh yeah, and did I mention that once the other vampires found out that Sorin was responsible for creating this angel, he was banned from his house and despised by his kind? I don't know what he expected, honestly. They had to come up with a plan to seal the demons away instead of just sending them back to the burning hells until they can catch the next bus ride to Innistrad. Here's where my research is going to fall apart a bit. There are some sources that claim Avacyn and the demon jail known as the Hell Vault were created at the same time, and other sources say they were created a few hundred to a few thousand years apart. Regardless, the big bad devil jail was made, and now Avacyn had a place to put all the demons she couldn't kill for good. One by one, the demons started to disappear and stopped showing up for tea parties. The one who liked to host these tea parties went by the name of Griselbrand. He started to get real lonely, so he came up with a genius plan. Innistrad is full of plans that totally work out. He challenged Avacyn to a boxing match in the courtyard of her church near the Hell Vault, where he tricked Avacyn into sealing both of them away inside the mega demon cage. When the battle was over, one of her lieutenants believed she was dead, and so everyone gave up hope and came to terms with it. For close to 2 years, humanity was hunted and pushed close to destruction once more, until the plot needed fixing and Magic needed to print new cards, and so Liliana Vest showed up looking for a demon that owned part of her soul. She did some detective work, found out her demon was in the Hell Vault, and busted that right open. Avacyn was restored, Griselbrand got killed for good somehow, and they all lived happily ever after. Except, while Avacyn was in the institution for naughty fiery boys, someone was whispering a catchy song into her ears. It went a little something like this. Humans are bad. They need to die. You should totes kill them all. And about 18 months after being set free, she did exactly that. Took a page straight out of Game of Thrones and started killing humans with fire. And all of her angelic friends were totally okay with that and decided to join in, except for one, but she never squares up with our bae Avacyn, so she doesn't really matter. After a few barbecues in a few different towns, it finally got the attention of Soren, who declared, "You had one job!" Soren tried his hardest to snap Avacyn out of her madness, but nothing worked and it led to fisticuffs. Avacyn was unable to hurt Soren because he made her, and Soren was unable to hurt Avacyn for reasons? But Soren, heartbroken and unable to fix Avacyn, took the whole "I brought you into this world, I can take you out" phrase quite literally, and completely unmade her, turned her into dust, and Avacyn was no more. After her death, Innistrad was attacked by a giant spaghetti monster by the name of Emrakul. The story implies Avacyn was so powerful that Emrakul was afraid to invade Innistrad while she was alive. So based on that rundown, we can determine that Avacyn was stronger than 4 other massively powerful angels, and she was capable of killing one of them without the other 3 resisting. She fought with demons on a daily basis, some of which were bigger than her entire church. She kept 4 elder vampires in check that were as old as Soren, and she scared a giant pasta monster so bad it wouldn't attack till she was dead. And Soren Markov, her creator, had to unmake her because it didn't seem like he could kill her. That last statement is just my own personal speculation, but from what I've read and the research I've done, it didn't seem like he could actually hurt her. Planeshift Innistrad, written by James Wyatt, said that Avacyn was considered a solar from the monster manual on page 18. So as a base stat block, she is a challenge rating 21. If you wanted to make her in one of your campaigns, you could take the stat block for the solar, name her, and call it a day. But I feel like Avacyn is a lot scarier and more OP than just a normal solar. Keep in mind, everything I'm about to list off is my own personal opinion and homebrew options, and the kind of fight you may want her to be in could vary from table to table. To start with, Avacyn is a very well-known angel and quite the legend. I think I would give her 5 legendary resistances per day. I don't believe the solar gets any, but she is a living legend and approximately 6,000 years old. I don't think it's too much to think she has some Get Out of Hellvault free cards. Avacyn doesn't use a bow, so instead of having a bow attack from the solar stat block, I think it would be more thematic if she shot a beam of fire at a target from her spear, but have it deal the same amount of damage and have the same insta-kill DC as the bow attack. Just because I like my players to have epic long fights with my bosses, I usually make my powerful bosses immune to wishes and polymorphs, so that it's more of a climactic battle. Avacyn is well known for her trusty demon-slaying spear she's always carrying, so you could take the item from Planeshift Innistrad and slap it right onto her options. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about a homebrew ability I made for my own game to spice up combat and make the party actually plan and think instead of a surround and pound tactic. This ability could be very controversial and unfair, so be careful should you decide to use it. I call it her Shield of Devotion, which states, Archangel Avacyn is protected by an impenetrable sphere of light that cannot be broken or penetrated by anything except the Sword of Anguish. Any and all damage that would hit Avacyn is reduced to 0 while she is protected by her shield. While the shield is up, she is immune to all spell and spell effects except for psychic spells and attacks. If the shield is struck by the Sword of Anguish, the shield will shatter and leave her vulnerable. Shield Recharge. At the beginning of Avacyn's turn, if the Shield of Devotion is broken, roll a d6. If it is a 4, 5, or 6, the Shield of Devotion is restored. In my story, I didn't want the party to try and manipulate Soren or have him outshine them. I left them breadcrumbs to his sword instead, so they could fight Avacyn themselves instead of watching him unmake her. And with that, I think Avacyn is pretty much done. Let me know what you guys think and leave me suggestions for what you would like to see as a fightable creature in D&D 5th edition. And until next time, that mage, signing out.